the hour. But first things first, let's take a look on what's making headline this morning. And President William Ruto has urged Tanzanian lawmakers to approve the development of 2 joint oil processing plants in Tanga, Tanzania, in a move aimed at strengthening regional energy cooperation and reducing fuel costs in East Africa. Speaking before the Parliament of Tanzania, President Ruto said that the proposed facilities will not only lower the cost of petroleum products across the region, but also create significant employment opportunities, especially for young people. Now, he emphasized that deeper collaboration between Kenya and Tanzania in trade and infrastructure development would accelerate economic growth and expand investment opportunities for citizens in both countries. And according to the proposal, the Tanga oil refinery project is expected to process large volumes of crude oil annually, reducing reliance on imported refined products and helping stabilize energy prices within the East African region.
Wale matajiri wetu wa bara letu la Afrika, kina Dangote na wengine ambao wameshajenga refinery wakati mmoja, na tukakubaliana ya kwamba nafasi tulio nayo is not to continue exporting raw materials from our continent and importing finished goods from elsewhere. Na ndio sababu hiyo tukapendekeza ya kwamba tukiungana Uganda, Tanzania na Kenya tunaweza kujenga refinery, ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba ile mafuta tunairefine hapa kwetu, pesa inabaki hapa kwetu, nafasi za ajira inabaki hapa kwetu, tutengeneze bidhaa zingine ya fertilizer ama mbolea hapa kwetu, plastic industry iwe hapa kwetu, petrochemical industry iwe hapa kwetu, badala ya kuzitafuta kutoka nchi zingine, badala ya sisi kwenda kung'ang'ana kule sijui Strait of Hormuz kulete mafuta kutoka sijui wapi. Masuluhu maswali magumu. Mbona yule bwana ameenda kutangaza refinery ya Tanga na kule na sisi wenyewe hatujatangaza? Sasa nawauliza nyinyi, ile ni refinery bana is a big investment.
Right, at the same time, President William Ruto has reaffirmed and praised the strong relationship between Kenya and Tanzania, highlighting the vision of Africa unity championed by founding leaders such as Julius Nyerere and Jomo Kenyatta. Now, speaking during his official visit to Tanzania, President Ruto said that Africa's future cannot be strengthened by individual nations acting alone, but through collective cooperation and shared purpose among African states. Now, he emphasized that the growing partnership between Kenya and Tanzania reflects the spirit of Pan-Africanism envisioned by the continent's early leaders, noting that cooperation remains essential in overcoming common challenges.
And Kenya have walked side by side, a partnership forged in struggle and anchored in shared purpose. At its foundation, 2 towering figures of our African history, Julius Nyerere and Jomo Kenyatta. Their partnership built on different but complementary visions inspired a model of unity that transcended borders. Even during the struggle for independence, including the Mau Mau period, Tanzania stood with Kenya, affirming a shared belief in freedom, dignity, and self-determination. That spirit gave birth to East African Community in 1967. Though disrupted in 1997, it was rebuilt through dialogue and statesmanship, leading to its re-establishment in 1999. Today, that community stands renewed and expanded, but its foundation remains the same: a growing partnership between our nations, defined not by the absence of challenges, but by our ability to overcome them and move forward together in pursuit of shared growth and shared strength.
Right, at the same time, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has advised her Kenyan counterpart, President William Ruto, not to hesitate in applying strict disciplinary measures to manage the Gen Z youth who are increasingly calling for good governance. Speaking during a joint address at State House in Dar es Salaam on Monday, President Samia noted that young people across the East African community are becoming more vocal in demanding accountability and improved leadership, a trend she said requires firm state response. Now, she emphasized that their push for good governance is handled differently across democracies, adding that individuals who violate national conduct standards in Tanzania, regardless of nationality, will face the full force of the law.
Sisi yanapotokea maovu Kenya, ni maovu yetu, tushirikiane kuyaondoa. Yanapotokea maovu Tanzania, vivyo hivyo. Leo tulikuwa tunazungumza na Rais Ruto asubuhi. Sijui asubuhi mchana, maana amechelewa na amekuja mchana. Tukaa tunazungumza jinsi ya kudeal na hawa watoto wetu watovu wa adabu wanaojiita nani hilo jina hao eti na wenyewe wanajifanya ni hao wa East Africa. Kwa hiyo popote wanakwenda kupigania demokrasi. Kwa hiyo wafanye fujo huku, wafanye fujo huku, wachome huku, wadisturb serikali zao. Nikamwambia Ruto, we have to send firm on this, watovu wa adabu hao. Tusichague wa Tanzania au wa Kenya. Wakija kwangu na chapa mikwaju, wakija kwako chapa mikwaju, ili wakae sawa. Na hapo tutapata jumuiya ambayo ina watu wenye heshima na ina watu walionyooka.
All right, moving on, Rigathi Gachagua has supported proposals by some lawmakers to establish an alternative labor organization in a move seen as a challenge to the dominance of the central organization of trade unions, that is COTU. Now, the proposal, which has sparked debate within labor circles, seeks to create a parallel platform to represent workers' interests outside the influence of central organizations of trade unions led by which is actually led by Francis Atwoli. Now, Gachagua made the remarks while attending the National Reflections on Labor Day and the launch of the Kenya Labor Market and Worker Welfare Report of 2026 held at Radisson Blue Hotel, Upper Hill in Nairobi. Now, he was speaking alongside labor stakeholders and policymakers who gathered to discuss the state of workers' welfare, employment trends and reforms needed in the labor sector.
The people entrusted to speak for the Kenyan workers have abandoned them. The Atwolis of this world are a disgrace to the Kenyan worker. I cannot understand how workers every year, every time there is an election for COTU, they go and vote back this Muse. I can't understand. And he's just after his own stomach. I remember when we came into office with William Ruto in 2022, this Atwoli had been on record campaigning for Azimio and actually advising William Ruto to look for a tree in Sugoi where he'll hang himself because he'll lose. I couldn't believe it when I found him in State House when we went in. And he was there laughing and dancing on the corridor. He was brought by Musalia and Wetangula to see William Ruto. And I asked William Ruto, how come Atwoli is here? I thought this man was saying that you should look for a tree in your compound to hang because you cannot be president. He laughed sheepishly and told me, Rigathi, you don't seem to understand this country. Every man has a price. He's a Atwoli. He's a useless fellow. He just wants money. That's why he's here. And it has happened. He has abandoned the workers. He is now the lead praise singer of the William Ruto praise and worship team. He's the lead soloist. He sings with both bass and soprano. To praise a man who has made the lives of workers hell. To sing praises to a man who has impoverished Kenyan workers. To affirm a man who have made workers beggars in their own country. The workers of Kenya, since you seem to be unable to remove these men, my proposal to Kenyan workers is about time we created another alternative organization to champion the rights of the Kenyan workers, so that workers have a choice. They don't have to be in court.
Now, the United Democratic Alliance, that is UDA, has moved its nomination exercise forward by 1 day, rescheduling it from May 9th to May 8th in a bid to avoid potential confusion and overlaps with other political parties. But the party says that the decision was made after it emerged that several parties had planned to hold their nominations on the same day, raising concerns over logistical challenges and possible disruptions. Speaking ahead of the Excise National Elections Board officials, Jimmy Kahindi and Mary Mutinga assured residents that the nominations will be conducted across all polling stations in all Kalau, promising a process that will be free, fair and transparent. Now, despite the new date falling on a weekday when schools will be in session, the officials expressed confidence that voter turnout will remain high. They have also urged the public to maintain peace and avoid any activities that could interfere with learning in nearby schools. Sobore Joseph now reports.
The United Democratic Alliance Party has rescheduled its nomination exercise from May 8 to May 9, a move aimed at streamlining the process and avoiding potential confusion with other parties planning similar activities the same day.
Okay, among the main issues that we have had discussed with our aspirants is the date of the election. Initially, we had slated the date to be on the 9th. But when we got here, we got a request from our aspirants that because there's another political party which has also intended to do the elections on Saturday, they have made a request to us that we push our elections to Friday. We have communicated that request to the party headquarters and that was granted. So I want to say it categorically clear that the party nominations for UDA in Olkalau will be conducted on Friday, the 8th of May, 2026.
According to the members of the party National Election Board, led by Jimmy Kahindi and Mary Mutinga, the nomination will take place across all polling stations in Olkaluo, with assurance that the exercise will be conducted in free, fair and transparent manner.
We have enlightened them on the procedure because we are not using the usual ballot paper way of voting. We are doing the digital and electronic voting. We have explained to them the elections, how they're going to be conducted, what they need to know, the do's and the don'ts, and how they're going to prepare for themselves for these elections. The party has done elections previously, and by large number, our nominations have been very successful. I have no doubt that the Olkalau nominations will be conducted in a free and fair manner.
And mine is to assure you, our candidates here who are with us today, that the election is going to be free, fair and viable.
Despite the new date falling on a weekday when schools will be in session, party officials remain confident that the voter turnout will remain strong. They have, however, urged the public to uphold peace and avoid any disruption, particularly around learning institutions. Meanwhile, aspirants vying for various positions under the UDA ticket have experienced optimism, saying their decision to join the ruling party is driven by the desire to deliver meaningful development to the people. Reporting from EBN TV, my name is Obwere Joseph.
And we are glad, and what we are hoping for is that our supporters will come out in large numbers, come out and let's have a peaceful elections, because without a peaceful elections, we will not be able to move Olkalau forward.
Reporting from EBN TV, my name is Obwere Joseph.
All right, thank you so much, Bore Joseph, for that particular report. Moving on, Football Kenya Federation President Hussein Mohamed has warned that ongoing leadership wrangles within the federation could jeopardize Kenya's chances of hosting the African Cup of Nations, that is AFCON 2027. Speaking before the National Assembly Sports Committee, Hussein insisted that he remains the legitimate head of FKF and will continue discharging his duties despite the growing dispute within the football governing body. Now, the federation has recently been rocked by internal divisions, with the rival factions accusing each other of alleged financial mismanagement and governance concerns, raising uncertainty over the stability of football administration in the country. Now, Hussein cautioned that if the disagreements persist, they could undermine Kenya's preparations and credibility as a co-host of the continental tournament, calling for unity and adherence to proper governance structures within FKF.
Kenya will host AFCON 2027 with honor, with excellence, and with full support of all institutions of government, football, and civil society. The Football Kenya Federation, under my leadership, is fully committed to that outcome. I thank this honorable committee for the opportunity to address you today. I remain available to respond to any further questions from honorable members. I also present to each member of this committee a document file which you have in front of you now. And I conclude by reaffirming my administration's commitment to accountability, transparency, and continued advancements of football in Kenya. I have appeared before this honorable committee in good faith and have addressed its questions fully and candidly. I remain available for any further engagements the committee may require. The Football Kenya Federation stands ready to work in close partnership with Parliament, Government, CAF, and all stakeholders to ensure AFCON 2027 is delivered successfully and to the highest standard and becomes a defining moment for football in East.
Now, the Central Organization of Trade Unions, that is COTU, has sharply criticized the Federation of Kenyan Employers, that is FKE, accusing it of issuing misleading statements regarding the reasons, a move that was widely welcomed by workers' representatives but has since sparked dispute over.
We must ignore those press releases. If Jacqueline has her own government, let her tell that government not to implement 12% general wage increase. An employer who will follow her advice, then that will be in jeopardy. Even we, at the Central Organization of Trade Unions, we are waiting for the gazettement of the government. Once it is gazetted, we will implement it. We are also employers. We have members of staff who serve at COTU and who serve in our various branches and so on, and in our affiliates. We will implement it. It is not only employers who are going to be hit hard by this increase, and it is in any case, 12% is very much enforceable with the improved economy and with a lot of, the whole of last year, there was no any increase. Therefore, Jacqueline should not mislead Kenyans. FK should not mislead Kenyans. That was my statement today. The president announced 12% general wage increase and 15% minimum wage for the agricultural workers union. And this must be enforced by every employer in Kenya. And I urge employers not to listen to the executive director because she's misleading them. If they continue listening to her, she will create a very big conflict between the Federation of Kenya Employers and Workers, and also the Federation of Kenya Employers with the government, because we are supposed as social partners to work towards one direction, agree as members of industrial relations practice in the Republic of Kenya. So that's, I wanted to clarify that those releases, press releases time and again, that are being lashed out every minute by the Federation of Kenya Employers must be ignored, must be ignored, must be ignored. And we are here to take care of that. I want to urge other members of the Federation of Kenya Employers to support government.
Now, the Council of Governors has intensified efforts to reduce maternal and perinatal deaths across the country through a data-driven approach that is now being implemented in all 47 counties. Governors are currently leading weekly review meetings to assess progress following the rollout of a national dashboard 8 months ago that tracks cases and interventions aimed at saving the lives of mothers and newborns. Now, early reports indicate that significant progress, with several counties recording reduced cases and in some instances zero deaths over extended periods. At the frontline, healthcare workers are holding regular meetings every Tuesday and Thursday to evaluate delivery room outcomes, identify gaps, and implement timely interventions based on collected data. Ruth Nasimiu files the story.
Kenya is stepping up the fight against maternal and newborn deaths, with data now taking center stage. The Council of Governors is rolling out a national strategy across all 47 countries, using real-time data to track, review, and respond to cases in a bid to save lives.
As we deliberate today, I encourage us to focus on a few areas. First, strengthening the use of data to inform decision-making and action. Every maternal and newborn death reviewed must lead to clear, actionable insights. It will be meaningful if we just review and have this data, but we sit on the data without doing anything. Action must follow.
Governors are now leading weekly review meetings, guided by National Dashboard launched 8 months ago, already showing promising results, with some countries recording days and even months without a single maternal death.
Some leaders are there, but there are some leaders who, beside their title, show us results. They come to the level of the front line and engage with the frontline workers. And once you remove barrier, I think everybody can be able to access to you. Even as leader, probably you know where we need to go together.
At the frontline, healthcare workers are meeting twice a week, every Tuesday and every Thursday, to analyze delivery rooms' outcomes, identify gaps, and implement immediate solutions.
The fact that the governors every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays pick the report and they call me and tell me, we've realized there was a lapse somewhere, there's somebody that didn't do their job and the like. I feel extremely very proud that this conversation has gone to the highest doorstep of the people that we wanted them to be accountable for any loss.
Council of Governors CEO Mary Muiti says while progress is encouraging, some investment is needed, especially in staffing, to sustain the gain. Development partners, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, have lauded Kenya model, describing it as a benchmark for Africa in the push to end maternal and newborn deaths by 2030.
And I can tell you, for the last 2 years, we've attracted partners, people of goodwill, philanthropists, coming to find out how we are doing it. And I keep on telling them it started over a cup of coffee, and it has actually mushroomed to something that cannot, and I repeat it again, this journey cannot be stopped by anyone.
Reporting for EBN TV, my name is Ruth Nasimiu.
Right now, Masai Mara University has been identified as a key institution in advancing innovation in Kenya's environment and tourism sectors, positioning it at the center of efforts to boost sustainable development. Speaking during the official opening of Innovation Week at the university, Tony Omwansa, Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya National Innovation Agency, said that the institution is strategically placed to spearhead solutions in the two critical sectors. Dr. Omwansa noted that the agency is working closely with universities across the country to strengthen innovation ecosystems and encourage Masai Mara University to take a leading role in developing practical, locally driven solutions.
Currently, there is a student innovation challenge that is being championed by the Network of Entrepreneurial Institution Leaders, NIL. And we asked for universities to work through their institutional working groups to get students to participate. We still have the deadline on the 12th of May, if I'm not wrong, so a few more days. And part of that program is to help us identify the most promising innovators of Masai Mara University, student innovators. Not only do we want to do that, we also want to create some competition between universities. And hopefully, we will also try to get the most promising university students out of the participating universities, and I hope it will be Masai Mara. I looked at the niche of Masai Mara University. I looked at the vision and the mission, but I spent more time in the niche. And the niche is around tourism, environmental resource management, and conservation. And no wonder the title I was asked to talk about is Innovation or Innovative and Sustainable Solutions for Environmental Conservation.
This gathering is a powerful testament to our shared commitment to nurturing creativity, advancing knowledge, and driving solutions that truly matter to our university, our nation, our communities, and even to the world. We are deeply grateful for your presence today as we collectively purpose to inspire young innovators for a better tomorrow.
My innovation today is the production of the briquettes, which help us the biofuel. In our innovation, we are trying to protect the Mara River by protecting the Mau forest, by enhancing the reduction of tree cuttages for firewood production. Since we use paper waste, sawdust, and the wheat straw.
Of production, when you're producing your biogas, in that time of production, you might require to use this one. We have got two kinds of biogas catalyst. It improves the production.
Right, it is exactly that 7 minutes past the top of the hour. That particular story takes us on a first breather here on Morning Live, but we'll be back in just a bit.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Many creative people began life in their poorest, humble state of homes. But these people performed and they did wonders. You are one of them. Child of God, you are one of them because Jesus Christ is in your life. Just give your life to Him and He start working in you.
EBN TV cares about the growth of your business. To advertise with us, call 0725 386 501 or 0740 653 453. EBN TV, transforming your world.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Fitness, fabulous fitness. You need it, we got it. The best home workouts just for you. We keep it fun and sweaty. Join us at EBN TV and get that blood pumping. A fabulous workout for your fabulous body. Keep it fit and fab.
I am the living one. I was dead and now look, I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death and hates. One of the picture of the churches is a lampstand.
EBN TV is opening its doors to the world through EBN Gospel Storm, a powerful opportunity designed to take your message beyond borders. For an annual subscription of only 5,000 shillings, you gain access to a global gospel platform, and once subscribed, you can hear a 30-minute sermon for just 1,000 shillings. At EBN TV, we are raising 13 gospel voices every day, one preacher every hour. This is your platform to reach a wider audience, to amplify your calling, and to spread the gospel to the nations.
How do we position ourselves? Is it physical or is it spiritual? This book that we preach to position you. Salvation is actually a positioning, and the preachers preach endlessly in every place to position men that they can see God.
Start with EBN. Join the gospel storm. Minister to the world.
EBN TV, preaching Christ, touching lives, and changing nations.
Welcome back to the program. Now let's take a look on what's making headlines on the dailies today, this particular morning. And I'm having the Daily Nation newspaper and of course the Standard newspaper this morning. Now let's take a look on the Daily Nation front page, where there is a picture there of the head of state during, that is President William Ruto and his Tanzanian counterpart Samia Suluhu Hassan at State House Dodoma, Tanzania yesterday at the end of his 2-day state visit. Dr. Ruto, who addressed Tanzania Parliament in Dodoma, emphasized the need for the two East African countries to deepen investment ties. Of course, it is dubbed, Ruto's deal with Samia on the front page of the Daily Nation, where it says President William Ruto is the second Kenyan leader to address the Tanzanian Parliament, and of course on matters infrastructure. Ruto urges Tanzania to buy into oil refinery project and backs rail growth, and as well as President Samia Suluhu laments Gen Z uprising, calls for joint crackdown on political dissent. And of course, as well on the back of raging trade tiffs, the two sides agree to reduce non-tariff barriers. That's as well on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Now, some of the agreements signed by the two nations include cooperation on railway development from Voi to Singida. And of course, on matters agriculture, a pact on measures to boost farming and trade. And of course, on gas and pipeline, the agreement on feasibility study for a proposed natural gas pipeline from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to Mombasa, and a mutual legal assistance where they will be collaborating in resolving criminal matters. Of course, on recognition of seafarers, agreement on mutual recognition of seafarers certificates, and as well as a target of 130 billion Kenya shillings in new trade and 65 billion Kenya shillings in fresh cross-border investments. Those are some of the things that they agreed upon during the visit by President William Ruto in Tanzania yesterday. All right, you can actually get that on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation newspaper this morning. And of course, over 151,000 Pioneer CBE learners drop out of junior secondary school, or the junior school. Now, the Kenya National Examination Council, that is NEC, and has expressed concern over retention gaps in the competency-based education system, revealing that over 151,691 pioneer learners dropped out before completing junior school. Now, the data shows that while transition rates remain high at lower levels, retention weakens as learners progress, and girls are disproportionately dropping out of junior school, highlighting socio-economic and cultural barriers that hinder their progression. Of course, that's as well on page 7 of the Daily Nation. Of course, we have seen what one may term as teething problems, in this particular curriculum. Now, data shows which NEC has actually raised concern that, most actually over 151,000 pioneer CBE learners have actually dropped out from school. And, this is quite a worrying number, having in mind, the cost of the competency-based education, right? That's as well on page 7 of the Daily Nation newspaper this morning. Now, families in pain after demolitions, where hundreds of land buyers have incurred heavy losses after court-backed demolitions left them homeless at Maruroi area of Resambu sub-county located off the northern bypass in Kiambu. Now, yesterday, a contingent of anti-riot police officers was deployed to restore peace after demonstrators threatened to disrupt business in the area. That's as well on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Now, to matters politics, Sifuna faction gives terms for truce with Oburu's ODM camp. Now, ODM's Linda Mwananchi group, led by Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, has set tough conditions for a reunion with the Linda, or the rival Linda ground team and a party leader Oburu Oginga. Let's take a look at that on page 7 or page 6 of the Daily Nation, where they say that the breakaway team by Secretary General Edwin Sifuna ruled out rejoining forces with Dr. Oginga's faction unless the outfit reverses all its major decisions made after the death of former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga in October 2025. Now, following Mr. Odinga's death, ODM, through its various organs, made major decisions, including the appointment of Dr. Oginga to succeed Mr. Odinga as party leader. Now, the outfit also fired co-deputy party leader Mr. Godfrey Otsotsi during its special delegates convention held on March 27th, and it also is also in the process of kicking out Mr. Sifuna as the party secretary general. Now, the outfit, through its National Executive Council, also endorsed pre-coalition agreement talks with the ruling United Democratic Alliance, that is UDA, and of course the party tasked with Odinga to lead the talks. Now, in its list of irreducible minimums, the faction say that it can only reconcile if the camp calls for an ordinary national delegates convention, that is an NDC, for party members to elect new officials in a competitive process. Right, those are some of the things, the reducible minimums that the ODM Linda Mwananchi faction wants if they are, they will again rejoin with the Linda Ground faction. That's of course on page 6 of the Daily Nation. Now, on page 2, from terror survivor to High Court judges, where Justice Rotich was part of a team returning from a mobile court session in Kipini, Tana River, when Al-Shabaab militia attacked them. That's a story on page 2 of the Daily Nation. Now, let's take a look at what's making headlines on the Standard newspaper this morning, where still the partnership between Kenya and Tanzania yesterday. Now, there is a picture there on the front page of the Standard newspaper of Tanzania head of state, that is President Samia Suluhu Hassan, shaking hands with Kenya's head of state, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And President William Samoei Ruto is earning a reputation for making bold claims. He later has to walk back as a string of diplomatic missteps places him under mounting scrutiny. Now, during a state visit to Tanzania, he was forced to explain himself after announcing that a regional oil refinery would be built in Tanga, a claim publicly disowned by host leader Samia Suluhu. Now, the episode lays bare a pattern of premature and proactive declarations from dismissing neighbors as less developed to sparking needless international proactive declarations from dismissing neighbors as less developed to sparking needless international roles, including a public spat with the Nigerian officials over language that are steadily eroding Kenya's credibility on the regional and global stage. All right. Now, the Standard newspaper this morning has highlighted the diplomatic blunders under scrutiny, and that includes West Saharan policy of 2022 Now, a tweet was issued immediately upon taking office, with which was later deleted, claiming to rescind recognition of the Sarol Arab Democratic Republic, that is SADR. Of course, the Sudan comment on 2023, the trade CS Moses Kuria was disowned by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after suggesting an invasion of Khartoum, Sudan. Now, in 2023, the Canadian Job Gaffey, the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs CS Alfred Mutua was forced to clarify a statement about jobs in Canada after the Canadian Immigration Department disowned it. Now, in 2023, Somaliland flag and statement. A Somaliland flag was featured at a State House event requiring an apology, while Senate Speaker Amason Kingi mistakenly referred to Somaliland as a sovereign republic. And as well as the EAC regional remarks of 2025, where the remarks in China are describing neighboring Uganda and Tanzania as least developed countries, caused a backlash, sparking concern regarding regional relations. And of course, in Tanga Refinery Gafe in 2026, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan openly corrected President William Ruto regarding a proposed joint refinery in Tanga, highlighting a lack of consultation. Now, these are some of, the gifts, diplomatic gifts in this particular regime. Now, Samia Suluhu Hassan yesterday said in the court, "You went ahead and announced a refinery in Tanga, which I wasn't aware of. You will explain why you made that announcement." That's what Tanzanian head of state had to say yesterday, when President William Ruto actually said that they had agreed on, constructing the refinery in Tanga, whose claims was disputed openly in public by Tanzanian head of state. That's a story you can get on page 4, 5, and 6 of the Standard newspaper this morning. Now, on matters fuel, there is a fuel crisis that has spiked in Nairobi as motorist drivers count losses. Now, crippling fuel shortage has gripped Nairobi, leaving motorists stranded, transport operations disrupted, and drivers counting heavy losses as the crisis spreads. Now, from South Sea to Embakasi, Thika Road to Mlolongo, desperate motorists were forced to hop from one petrol station to another in search of fuel, often without success. Now, a spot check by the Standard revealed that the shortage, which appeared to be worsening, has particularly hit diesel supplies, grounding public service vehicles, trucks, and taxis. Right? Now, the truck drivers who depend on a consistent diesel supply for long-haul deliveries say the shortage has brought their operations to a standstill. Right, that's as well on page 3 on matters fuel crisis. Now, fresh setback for ODM as tribunal freezes move to remove SG Sifuna. That's as well on page 2. Of course, an autopsy veteran, Dr. Bwaka, died of cardiac arrest. That's according to an autopsy conducted yesterday in the Nairobi hospital. All right. Now, for schools destroyed in fresh wave of students' unrest. And a wave of students' unrest has swept parts of coast where property of unknown value has been raised in 4 schools in Taita Taveta and Kilifi counties. Now, on Sunday, fire burnt down a dormitory at Jilore Senior School in Kwale County and St. Mary's Boys High School in Taita Taveta County. A Grey Boys National Schools in Nundai, that is in Taita Taveta, was raised by 3 hoods individuals. Right, that's what's up on what's happening in the coast region. Right now, you're up to speed, those you're waking up to this morning as far as news is concerned. My name is Macharia. It is exactly 56 minutes past the top of the hour. Of course, 4 minutes to the top of the hour. We are taking a short breather here on the program, but when we come back, we'll begin going to have a conversation in regards to these developing stories and as well as the state of the nation. All right, so stick around for that particular conversation that's coming to you up next in just a bit. Don't go too far.